Hiya, it's Zombies, and welcome back to another Warrior Cats Ultimate Edition video. Firstly, thank you so much for 200 subscribers. That happened so quickly, and it might be even more after I post this video. My last video on disabled cats had a few flaws, and I got a few comments with tips and corrections. So here are some that I found quite helpful and would like to share with you all. You can pause to read them. Also, I blurred out the names and profiles in case these people don't want to be publicly shown. The 3 disabilities I'm going to be covering today aren't as common, but I've seen a few people roleplay with them before. These are muteness, cerebellar hypoplasia, or more known as wobbly cat syndrome, and declawed cats. If you have any suggestions for a part 3 or any corrections on my video, please leave them down in the comments below. Criticism is very much open and welcome, as I don't know everything and I have lots of room to improve. Now, let's continue on with today's video. For this next section, I'm going to be using my OC, Thunderous River, to represent mute OCs. Most mute cats resort to their non-talking ways as a result due to mental trauma, physical injury, or neurological disorder. No matter the cause, here are some tips that could help. Firstly, unlike most blind and deaf cats, your OC is guaranteed to become an apprentice and a warrior, as muteness doesn't stop them from pursuing or completing warrior/apprentice duties, unless your OC also has another disability. Although your OC would most likely struggle with communication, because your OC wouldn't speak, getting points across and just regular communication could be quite hard in their day-to-day life. But mute cats in a way are similar to deaf OCs. Most deaf OCs can't talk if they were born deaf, so like with a deaf OC you can incorporate some form of sign language into your roleplay, or you could use actions to simulate what you're trying to say. Mute cats would need basically no assistance doing their task. Mute cats are very capable of doing everything a warrior can. The only thing I could think a mute OC would need help with is having somebody convey their ideas or thoughts to others. I would not suggest making your mute OC a deputy, let alone a leader. Being the role of a deputy and leader requires good communication skills. As your OC won't speak, being a leader especially would be a tedious task. Not all cats would understand what you're trying to say, especially at important meetings like gatherings. Yes, of course, if you have somebody from your clan that understands you, it could translate whatever you try to say with their paws for you, then maybe you could be a leader, but it's not likely. Then again, it is your OC and you're free to do as you please with them. Mute OCs may not form bonds as well with their clanmates, as some cats may not have the patience to understand them. Mute cats also have trouble conveying their feelings and emotions. For example, my OC, Thunderous River, is quite short-tempered as she finds it hard to find the patience to keep trying to convey a message over and over to her clanmates, but these traits would depend on your OC's personality and the personality of your clanmates. Phrasing the actions of a mute OC aren't that hard. You don't have to stray away from using any terms or phrases when typing out your actions unless your OC has another disability along with their muteness. But phrasing speech is a lot more difficult than you would originally think. Because your OC cannot use words, they have to rely on their paws and the resources around them to communicate. While it is possible to use some form of sign language, for a more realistic roleplay, I suggest using actions to simulate what you're trying to say. I guess that would be similar to sign language, but it would also make it seem more realistic than typing something along the lines of, "The Tom signed, I'm a bit hungry." Instead of saying, "The Tom signed," you could say, "The Tom rubbed his stomach with his paw." This action still sends the same message across, just in a better way, although be careful what you use, as with that message, people can also translate it to you having a stomach ache. So phrasing your sentence/action correctly is the most important part. For this next section, I'm going to be using my own OC, Zombies, to represent OCs with cerebellar hypoplasia. Cerebellar hypoplasia isn't a disorder you typically see in warrior cats, so it isn't surprising that most people don't know what it is. Now, sorry if I butcher any of this, but according to the National Institute of Neurological Disorders and Strokes, cerebellar hypoplasia is a neurological condition in which the cerebellum, the part of the brain that coordinates movement, is smaller than usual or not completely developed. Cerebellar hypoplasia is a feature of a number of congenital, present at birth, brain malformation syndromes, inherited metabolic disorders, and neurodegenerative disorders that begin in early childhood. Most common symptoms of cerebellar hypoplasia for younger children are floppy muscle tone, developmental or speech delays, problems with walking and balance, intellectual disabilities, and involuntary side-to-side eye movements. Cerebellar hypoplasia is commonly known as wobbly cat syndrome in cats. Now that we know what cerebellar hypoplasia is, how would it affect our furry felines? Well, for starters, cerebellar hypoplasia doesn't just randomly appear, so you will notice it in behaviors as a kitten. According to the Cats Protection Charity website, if your kitten has cerebellar hypoplasia, you might notice that they are a little wobbly as they begin to move, usually at a few weeks of age. As cerebellar hypoplasia is a non-progressive disorder, this will not worsen over time, but cats are generally affected for the rest of their lives. Luckily, cats will learn to cope with their condition and generally live full and happy lives, albeit with some extra care. Things cats with cerebellar hypoplasia may do are standing with their legs apart, swaying quite a bit as they move, lifting their legs high when walking, nod or have head tremors, which may worsen as they try to eat or focus, and finally, lose their balance. As the VCA Animal Hospital's website states, kittens with cerebellar hypoplasia are not infectious to other kittens or cats. They do not experience any pains and will learn to adapt to their disability over time. Because there has never been a warrior with cerebellar hypoplasia in the books, to my knowledge, it might be hard to determine how they act as well as other factors like if they would become a warrior. So everything I'm about to say is based on facts about CH or personal opinions. But anyways, here are my personal tips. A cat with cerebellar hypoplasia is unlikely to become an apprentice, let alone a warrior, because cats that struggle from CH wobble a lot and tend to lose their balance. It might be hard to complete warrior duties. For one, when hunting, you need to be more stealthy, not to scare prey away. Cats with cerebellar hypoplasia would have a hard time keeping their balance and staying quiet while stalking/hunting prey, which would make them quite useless when it comes to hunting. Secondly, fighting might also be very tedious. Battling other cats involves lots of movement and accuracy. Your OC would most likely struggle a lot with balance and accuracy. So your OC is probably not likely to become a warrior, although your OC may learn to adapt to their disability and make a difference in fighting and hunting techniques that suit to them. Your OC could become a warrior. But then again, this is all opinions based on facts about cerebellar hypoplasia, so you're free to do what you want with your OC because nobody gets to tell you what to do. And an OC with cerebellar hypoplasia would low-key be badass. An OC with CH is probably very much capable of doing everything a warrior can, with adaptations of course. OCs with cerebellar hypoplasia won't need much assistance if they aren't a warrior. They're capable of doing a lot more than they seem to be. If your OC is an apprentice, they would need a mentor that is willing to have plenty of patience and willing to make adjustments to how they teach your OC to manage fighting and or hunting. Even as a warrior, your OC would still probably need assistance from other clanmates from time to time. Despite how complicated cerebellar hypoplasia seems, it actually isn't too hard to phrase actions for your OC. When typing out an action, use words that could indicate how clumsy or wobbly your OC is. For example, instead of typing, "the she-cat walked across the clearing," you should use something more along the lines of, "the she-cat hobbled across the clearing." The word hobbled indicates that you can't walk properly or you walk awkwardly, and which will make sense as your OC is probably very wobbly. To get a better idea of the movements of cats with cerebellar hypoplasia, or just cats with CH in general, I suggest looking up videos. This would give you a better idea of how they act and how to roleplay as an OC with CH properly. And then there is nothing I can say about speech other than stay away from terms that unemphasize your OC's disability. For this next section, I'm going to be using my OC Avalanche to represent Declawed OCs. Before I get into this section, I would just like to speak about the side effects of what declawing does to your cat. So if you're thinking of declawing your feline, I do not recommend it. According to the Paw Project's website, declawing has never been common in most other countries, and in fact, it is illegal or considered unethical by the veterinary profession in most of the world. Declawing is a surgical procedure sometimes inaccurately termed onychectomy, which means removal of the nail. In reality, more than just the nail is removed. The animal's toes are amputated at the last joint, which is the only way to remove the nail/claw that grows from deep within the toe bone. So think of this as removing the knuckle of your finger. Also, the Humane Society of the United States says declawing of any kind can cause lasting physical and behavioral problems for your cat. Declawing significantly increases the odds of back pain, litter box aversion, and biting. Declawing can cause paw pain, back pain, infection, tissue necrosis/tissue death, and laminus. Removing claws changes the way a cat's feet meet the ground and can cause pain like wearing an uncomfortable pair of shoes. Improperly removed claws can regrow, causing nerve damage and bone spurs. As you just heard, declawing not only causes pain, it causes aggression in cats, and as they don't have claws to protect themselves. Biting would be their next solution. I suggest you do your own research on the declawing of cats and see the negative effect of doing this to your furry friends. Now that that has been dealt with, let's continue on with the video. There has never been a declawed warrior in the books, so yet again we will have to determine behaviors by speculation, facts about declawing, and personal opinions. Here's how I think a declawed OC would act like. Firstly, a declawed cat would definitely struggle adjusting to clan life. If your OC is declawed, they were most likely a kitty pet at some point in their lifetime, so this would already make it hard to adjust to the ways of clan. Now, I don't personally think a declawed cat would become a warrior or apprentice, as it would be, for one, painful, and secondly, it would be a lot harder for your OC to hunt or fight properly. So in short, a declawed OC would probably not be able to complete the duties of an apprentice, let alone a warrior. Although if your OC has made adaptations to the way they hunt or fight, they could possibly become a warrior. It also depends if the front and back claws have been declawed. An OC with only their front claws declawed could probably learn how to fight with their maw and back paws. So it just depends on your OC. Even if your OC has been fully declawed, I'm sure there are specific adaptations they could learn. Like a cat with CH, when role-playing, you would probably need a mentor with lots of patience. I could see a declawed cat visiting the medicine den quite often. Declawing causes pain in their paws, so it wouldn't be surprising if your OC went to the medicine den because of their paw pains. But if your OC isn't a warrior or an apprentice, they wouldn't need much assistance from other cats on doing simple things. Although, if your OC does end up becoming a warrior, I'd imagine they would need help from their clanmates on doing certain things. Another thing, I doubt a declawed cat would ever become a deputy, let alone a leader. I only say this because of all the side effects that come with declawing cats, although this is a fantasy series and you can do whatever you please with your OC. While declawed OCs aren't much different from regular warriors, a lot of their actions could harm them and or cause them slight pain. When typing out your action, you might want to indicate that some movements you do will cause you pain. Although your cat will gain more tolerance to the pain that declawing caused them, it will still hurt from time to time. So instead of saying something like the feline padded towards In medicine, then, you should say something more along the lines of, the feline winced slightly as they padded towards the medicine bin. Although this sentence does not imply excruciating pain, it still emphasizes that you get a little bit of hurt. Secondly, when phrasing speech, if something relates to your OC, like a warrior telling you to hurry up, you could emphasize that you can't go much faster as it will hurt your paws more. Other than that, speech is pretty simple and there's nothing else to it. That is all for today's video. I suggest you do more research on cats with cerebellar hypoplasia and declawed cats to better understand your OC. Everything said in this video was based on research I personally did. I didn't really do a super deep dive on all of my research, but I suggest you do. It will help your roleplay be more realistic. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video, and like I said at the beginning of the video, if you have any other disabilities you want me to cover, or if you have any critiques, please leave them down in the comments below. Anyways, that's all. Zombies out!